Hello and welcome to the Armenian News Network Grung. My name is Asbet Bedrosyan, and along with 𝐂𝐨𝐬𝐚𝐭𝐢𝐴 Manucharyan and Katya Peltekian, we are continuing our discussions with different representatives of the Armenian political opposition in the aftermath of the November 9 ceasefire agreement. This episode was recorded on Tuesday, December 22nd, 2020.
Following the trilateral Karabakh ceasefire of November 9, all major political forces in Armenia, except for the ruling party, condemned Nikol Pashinyan's agreement to the deal. While the dissatisfaction with the agreement is widespread, the opposition is not entirely unified on what to do next. We'll talk with the leader of one of the two parliamentary opposition factions, Bright Armenia, about his and his party's vision and subsequent actions to be taken by Armenia. What is Bright Armenia's vision for post-November Armenia? Listen to this podcast to find out more. Today we're joined by Edmon Marukyan, who is an Armenian lawyer and member of the National Assembly. Edmon holds 2 master's degrees, one in Jurisprudence from the Public Administration Academy of Armenia, and the second one in law, LL.M, with concentration in international human rights law from the University of Minnesota Law School. In December 2015, Marukyan established the Bright Armenia Political Party, and in October 2016, Bright Armenia participated in the local self-government elections of Vanadzor and came in second after the ruling party. In December 2016, in cooperation with the Civic Contract and Republic parties, Bright Armenia formed a political coalition named 𝐂𝐤𝐡, or Yelq in Armenian, electing Edmon Marukyan to lead the proportional list of the coalition in parliamentary elections of April 2017. The 𝐂𝐤𝐡 coalition came in third out of 4 political powers forming the new parliament. In the snap elections of December 2018, after the dissolution of parliament following the Velvet Revolution, in which 11 parties took part, Bright Armenia Party, led by Marukyan, came in third, taking 18 seats out of 132. Currently, Edmon Marukyan leads the Bright Armenia Faction in the National Assembly of Armenia. Hello and welcome, Edmon.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. So can you outline Bright Armenia's position on the causes of the war as well as the November 9 ceasefire agreement?
So, the Bright Armenia's position is that we declared in November 9 that the Prime Minister, who is the symbol of losing diplomacy, symbol of the losing of the war, must leave his position, and we must create a government of transition with the transitional Prime Minister who can try to continue negotiations. We have a lot of ambiguities after signing this document that we can try to interpret in a way that we'll have better solutions that we have now, and then stabilize the country, try to figure out how we are going to get out from this humanitarian crisis, and then organizing parliamentary elections, ensuring for all equal opportunities and free and fair elections. So this was our proposal. So we prepared and released 13 steps that we will take if we are going to take a position of the Prime Minister. Of course, asking all parties to have a consensus on this. So that was our position. And till now we work in parliamentary level. So we organized a hearing in the parliament, inviting all political forces to have their say, to propose their own way, to talk about the situation that we are in, and to talk about the situation, how we are going to get out from this kind of crisis that I have never seen, and I don't remember, even during my childhood, when I saw earthquake, then war, then independence movement. I don't remember such a crisis that we had during Third Republic. So overall, this is our position, but I can answer concrete questions if you may have.
Well, to start off with, Bright Armenia has not joined the movement of the 17 political parties called the Movement of the Salvation of the Homeland that are publicly protesting in the streets. So I wanted to know, what are your views or your party's views and the strategies that Bright Armenia is taking and the strategies that keep Bright Armenia on a separate path as an opposition party, essentially?
So first of all, there are parties inside of the group that we have a lot of problems with them. Even we have court cases against a party which is inside of the movement, but it's It's not the main issue. The issue is that we don't think that we'll have another prime minister coming from the streets, first of all. Second, we think that we must try to find out consensus inside of the parliament, because if we push ruling majority to the situation that they will be gathered with the prime minister, not try to find solutions, so then we will push them to become more stronger than they are now. And what I see, the majority, as we saw, on November 10, 11, 12, 13, I think they were so weak and collapsed. I could say they were in a way of collapsing. But what happened after the several elections against MPs of ruling majority in their cities, in their yards, calling them betrayers? When I say we, I mean opposition, overall. So we move them, we push them to join again to the prime minister and to stronger their position. So now, as I understand, and as we see now, they are all together, and they are not going to break up and get out from the faction and join to the opposition for finding the solutions. So I think the strategies were wrong, and during the consultations between us and the coordinators of the 16 parties, we discussed about this, and we informed them that you are in a wrong path. So this way will not bring you to the solution. And on the other hand, we proposed that if they are not excluding the candidate for the prime ministerialship of the Bright Armenia Party, so we also can consider the candidacy of the 16 parties, Mr. Edmon Marukyan. So till now we didn't get any answer, but we think that if Prime Minister resigns, which is not the case right now, so then in the parliament, two factions, Prosperous Armenia and Bright Armenia, have the right to propose a candidacy for the prime ministerialship. So if we propose my candidacy and they propose the candidacy of Mr. Marukyan, so the better chances we think that I will have to be elected. Because the My Step faction, as I said before, already pushed to the angle, pushed to the prime minister's protection. And that is why, as I understand, they're scared of these people. And under these circumstances, I don't see that they have better chances to propose their candidacy. So, first of all, if we recognize that we all want to remove the prime minister and have a new prime minister, which we call transitional prime minister, and then this transitional prime minister will create new cabinet by the consensus with the other parties, then we must find the way which will bring us to that point. So we think that our candidacy is that way. So they think that using the street actions and actions of the civic disobedience will bring them to that point. And on the other hand, I told them, and publicly also, during all my conversations and interviews, that removing Mr. Pashinyan using the same mechanisms that he used against Sargsyan will not work. So this is our understanding of knowing him. And as we see till now, it doesn't work like that. So this is also a fact. So the rest we will see. We are open to cooperation. We also cooperate in a parliamentary level. For instance, today, together with the Prosperous Armenia Faction, we initiated another initiative to cancel the state of martial law in the country. And after that, we can start the process of impeachment of the prime minister. Because right now we have this martial law or military law, and which is not allowing us to start an initiative for impeachment, to remove the prime minister. So what I'm saying is that in a parliamentary level, without us, nobody can initiate anything. So until now, we cooperate with the street opposition, if I can say, using all parliamentary mechanisms.
I realize your point of view on the street opposition, but I wanted to also gain your sense of how big and significant this opposition is. For instance, Nikol Pashinyan has characterized the opposition protests so far as elitist and unrepresentative of larger society. And additionally, his team still claims that he has significant support from the population at large, citing the apparently large turnout during his march to Yerevan. So what's your assessment of Armenian voters' support for 𝐂𝐸𝐿 and Nikol Pashinyan? And how could you, or anyone else for that matter, measure that level of support? On what basis would you be able to do that?
So, I don't have any social poll results about the ratings and public support of the Prime Minister or my step, or for the support of the resignation movement. But as we know, there were reports that during that march to Yerevan, Pashinyan used administrative resources. So this was reported by several channels, and they claim that they still have the support of the big majority of our society. So that is why opposition cannot, organize big street mass civic disobedience events and marches and demonstrations. So, based on Pashinyan's understanding, maybe he thinks that opposition must bring 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 people to the streets in order to say him, you must go. I mean, if even we didn't have anyone in the streets, we cannot say that we don't have a crisis. So we have a crisis. It's a political crisis. It's a humanitarian crisis. It's a social crisis. Before that, we have a health crisis. And also we have a lost war, and we have the outcome of the war. Apathy. A lot of people, want to leave the country, but the borders are closed because of the coronavirus. And I think if the borders will be opened sooner or later, we will have a big migration wave. So, of course, Pashinyan still can, argue that he have big support of the people. But my understanding is that the big portion of our society don't want to see Pashinyan as a prime minister, but also they are not supporting also the movement which is on the streets. So this is my understanding during these days. So, and as an alternative, we are trying to build our alternative, because these people are looking for the alternative for the street movement and for the alternative for the Mr. Pashinyan. That is why, if we will have elections, then we can talk about the ratings, who has how much votes. But right now, in this apathy, in this strategy, the country, in this tragic situation, how we can organize elections. That is why, we are against of organizing elections now. And I said, maybe after 6 months. So the street opposition argued that they need a year to stabilize the country and then organize elections. So anyway, we have general understanding in a level of opposition that elections now will be the last thing that we must do.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is 𝐂𝐸𝐿. You were giving us, your idea about cooperation with the opposition, etc., etc. But how long can Armenia wait?
For what? Sorry.
For stabilization. You know what I mean, with everything we see, and I'm from the diaspora, and all we hear is this village being Azerbaijan, this highway being this and that. The picture is probably different from what you see in Hayastan. How long can Armenia wait for all this stabilization and election and whatever with the current situation there?
So first of all, there are a lot of media manipulation. So you must find out what you are reading and what you are watching, and then check every news that you are receiving from Armenia, whether it is credible news or not. For instance, the incident yesterday in a Sisian church, that priest didn't give his hand to the prime minister, and there was information that priest said that prime minister must leave the church. But in reality, priest said to the prime minister that he must wait for his judgment by the God. And second, there was a news that after that, the priest's house was taken by the police, and police was searching the house of the priest. So the whole media covered it, but it was fake news. So that is why I'm arguing that you must, be careful what you are reading about Armenia right now. The whole media, under the manipulation. About how much Armenia can wait. I agree with you. We must find a way to stabilize the country as soon as possible, because our enemies, Turkey, Azerbaijan, they are not waiting for stabilization of Armenia. They are happy to see the destabilized Armenia, to see broken Armenia, to see broken Armenian society, and to use it for their own benefit. So that is why we must find solutions as soon as possible. In a level of opposition, in a level of the government, doesn't matter, because we have one statute, is the Republic of Armenia, and we must find out the ways how to stabilize the country. Of course, the two sides, if I can say two sides, are not going for compromises. One side is already declared the Prime Minister as a betrayer without any doubt and without any discussion. And they declared also that they will not meet with the Prime Minister for any case. So it was the statement of the joint candidate, Mr. Edmon Marukyan. The Prime Minister declared them as they were revenge people. So they want a revenge. And those are the people who are the former elites and corruption, stuff like that. He also have a statement which is not also giving a chance for going to any compromise. So this is so bad. And that is why, of course, Armenia cannot wait. The value of dram, Armenian currency, is losing day by day. The economy is in stagnation. Our foreign debt is about 70% of our GDP. And on daily basis, we are facing problems such as, these villages issues in Sunni region, and also new military threats that the Armenia facing coming from Azerbaijan and Turkey. So that is why I agree with you, so that we must find the way to stabilization of country, our economy, our situation as soon as possible. And the first step is political stabilization. If we will not stabilize the political system, then we will not have a strong currency. We will not stop the devaluation of the currency. Well, we cannot stop, the banking sector going to be collapse, and we will have domino effect, The state institutions will collapse altogether. Of course, this is a big threat, and, I'm deeply concerned about this. There's no doubt. But I think the others, other sides must have the same understanding about the situation.
You mentioned a few differences, such as, some of the extreme views that the opposition holds of, or the street opposition, as you call it, or the 17 parties hold of Pashinyan. And besides that, and the difference of the prime ministerial candidate, with one case 𝐂𝐲𝐧𝐯 Marukyan and the other case you, are there any other major differences and common denominators between your party and the 17 opposition parties? Can you give a little bit more detail on the policies, maybe?
Yeah. Of course, there are a lot of differences. So we propose to create a parity commission to investigate pre-war time and the wartime situation. How we were prepared for the war, how we failed the diplomacy, and how we failed the war. So this is our approach. And we not use betrayer. We are not using such labels against any opponents that we had now and we have now and we had before. So we say that we must create this commission to find out every soldier how was killed, every soldier how was catched and became a prisoner of war, every village how was fallen, every part of the Artsakh how was given up, how we were prepared for this kind of war, why we failed diplomacy, whether we have a chance to find solutions using our diplomatic channels, and we didn't use it, or we use it and it was not effective. A lot of questions. And the forces which are on the streets, they have already declared the judgment for the Prime Minister and for the people who are with the Prime Minister. So they are not giving a chance let's say, humanitarian corridor to find out the truth. So we are the force which is trying and will try and will do our best to find the truth for our people. I'm sure for coming 5 or 10 years, Armenian society, Armenian nation worldwide will be hungry for the truth. What happened? How we lost the diplomacy? How we lost this war? Where we have been prepared for last 25 years, what we have done after revolution for last 2.5 years, how we went for this war, how we managed the war, whether we had betrayers during the war or not. So a lot of questions that we must answer, and we are not going to have prepared judgments for anyone, for any side of the, for the current government or the governments that we had before. So this is a big difference that we have. So the other difference is that we have clear solution how to save a Sunnic region, regarding today's threats. So Armenia's security balance and security system collapsed now. The security system that we had since 1994 after Bishkek Protocol collapsed after the war that we have now, and now the part of the Nagorno-Karabakh is not under the guarantee of Armenian security, is under the guarantee of Russian peacekeepers. So this is a big difference. So now about Sunnic. So the Sunnic region is under the threat. So Turkish-Azerbaijani threat is there. And how we are going to keep the people who live in Sunnic to give them confidence that they can live there peacefully, that they were doing before the war. How we can do that? So our party is proposing to update our military agreements with the Russian Federation, proposing new Russian base in the Sunnic region, which will be a backup for the peacekeepers in the Sunnic region, because now the Gyumri base is supplying the peacekeepers, but Gyumri from the Nagorno-Karabakh, from the Stepanakert, is far away. But if we will have a Russian military base in Goris or in Kapan, that will supply the peacekeepers in Nagorno-Karabakh and also guarantee security, stability, and peace in Sunnic region. And no Azeri side, no Turkish side will never think about the attacking Sunnic region or the Megri, because the Azeri bloc posts were 180 kilometers far from our villages, where Sunnic people were living there. Today, they are far 3 kilometers, 2 kilometers, 4 kilometers. Could you, imagine the difference? So these people, they are not sleeping, their nights, and they are so concerned. And of course, we explain them that if Azerbaijan attacks Sunnic regions, for instance, let's say David Bek village, it means that they are attacking Russian Voronezh city, because we are under the same security umbrella. But again, we cannot take out this fear from our people, because they saw the nightmare of this war. So that is why we think that we must have permanent working Russian base in Sunnic region, which we are proposing right now. And this is also in our program. If we will have a chance to lead the government, we will start negotiations about this, and we will secure our backbone of Armenia. So as you may know, we call Sunnic region as a backbone of Armenia. Which is, I could say, the most strategic part of the Republic of Armenia, and the eye of Turkish nation and the eye of Azerbaijan on this region right after the independence of the Republic of Armenia, already 30 years.
We heard proposals about the second Russian military base already from other parties as well, and it seems to be an inevitability, at least in this current security environment. But I wanted to go on maybe and talk a little bit about something else. So you mentioned that it seems like you're also in favor of a similar plan of action as to the 17, which is an interim period, and then afterwards only after your case 6 months, in the case of the 17 parties 1 year, and then we will have parliamentary elections. But in the light of these news, we're hearing reports that the government is trying to accelerate efforts to change the electoral code in Armenia, potentially in preparation for calling early snap parliamentary elections and without an interim resignation period and so forth. As a member of parliament, are you aware of efforts to speed up changes to the electoral code first? Is this is this reliable news? And what is your opinion on this alternative strategy, I guess, offered by the government camp?
So, of course, if the Pashinyan's government will not find out a way to stabilize the country, he by himself will try to organize a snap elections. But what will happen at that time? He must resign and not allow the parliament to elect the prime minister in order to dissolve the parliament and to have snap elections. So, but I think they are all aware that if he resigns, so I, for instance, will run for the prime ministerialship. And I think the Prosperous Armenia also will propose a candidate, Mr. Edmon Marukyan or some other candidate. So in this situation, the parliament, in order to not be dissolved, may elect me or other candidate and keep the parliament. So that is why I'm not sure that the Pashinyan government is for 100% ready for this kind of scenario. But as for the electoral code, I can tell you that we were working with them about 2 years for a new electoral code. They are proposing till now to have 100% classical proportional system, closed ballot. So you vote for the party, you can see first 3 candidates, like the leader and 2 others, and the rest of the candidates are published, but they are not on the ballot. So you cannot elect anyone from that ballot. So we proposed to keep this rating system that we have now, but which is regional rating system, to keep this system, but to use it nationwide. For instance, you want to vote for Edmon Marukyan, you can vote in Megri, you can vote in Vanadzor, you can vote in Gyumri, you can vote in Yerevan. So this was our proposal. Till now, we don't have a consensus. They want to push for adopting an electoral code which is about 100% proportional, which is like presidential elections, like election of number ones, and the others will not be running, and every party can bring people to the parliament who are not well known, and we will have the same parliament that we have now, like this parliament. The people who are not well known, the people who are not even we have people who never work in any sphere, Their first job was MP. So and this is a bad system, I think.
Mr. Marukyan, I have a quick question. There's also a lot of work that's being done about border demarcations right now. Do you have any idea what the urgency is to do this right now? Are you aware of any agreements that necessitate this work on the borders right now?
So what is happening now? I don't know from which source you are following, but after the end of the war, so the consequences of the war is that Azerbaijan demanding this demarcation, and they demand to be in the places that they think, according to the Soviet maps, are their lands. So this is, as I said, outcome of the war, and that is why they pushed Armenia to work with them, Russian Federation also, to find a way how they are going to use these maps. So I can tell you the case of the Goris-Kapan road, which is according to that maps, as we are informed, 2 parts of this road overlapping, you can say, or going through allegedly Azeri lands. So and the government find a solution with the Russian Federation to have Russian forces there. As I can tell you, I think 21 kilometers. We will have Russian border guards, and then Azeri border guards from their side, and then Armenian border guards from our side. And we can use that road, and the safety guaranteed by the Russian border guards. So this was the last case that we know about the demarcation.
The reason why I was asking about the necessity of this work primarily was that I don't remember seeing this in the agreement that was signed on November 9, that this work must happen right now.
Of course, according to the agreement, the parties must stay in the places that they were. But as I understand, they're arguing that this is about Nagorno-Karabakh, not about Armenia. So, Soviet Union collapsed. We were in a war with Azerbaijan, and we don't have borders with Azerbaijan. I mean, we had front line with Azerbaijan.
That's correct.
And since we lost this war, so they occupied the lands, and they come up and they are under the Goris and under the Kapan, under the Megri, and they are there. And they argued that they must stand in a places which is the end of their map. So this was the argument. And it was pushed by their side. It was not Armenian initiative. It was not initiative of Armenia. And if Armenia will not find a solution, then their forces will come to that places. And if we are not going to find out the solutions for any way, so we may have new military escalation there. So this was the case.
So it seems like you're saying that this border process is only to position troops, but also at the same time, at least the opposition is alleging that there is an effort to fully, and I think the Armenian government as well is mentioning to fully recognize borders of Azerbaijan, or maybe that's not your understanding. Within this context, they're also alleging that Armenia is preparing to open diplomatic relations with Azerbaijan and maybe even Turkey. What is your stance on this hypothetical scenario, and how realistic do you think it is?
Well, I think it's not realistic. It's very hypothetical scenario that we will have restoring our diplomatic relations with Turkey or having new relations with Azerbaijan. I mean, diplomatic relations. So, the situation in Armenia, we lost 5,000 our heroes. How we can talk about that kind of solutions now, even in the near future, I don't see that. And then also the rhetoric of Azerbaijan, the rhetoric of the victory parade that they had in Baku was not about peaceful relations, was not about opening our borders and diplomatic relations, and it was about spirit of Enver Pasha. It was about endorsing genocidal policies of Azerbaijan and Turkey, and it was about glorifying the super killers of the organizers of the genocide, movement and genocidal policies. So that is why I don't think it's totally hypothetical. But there's a debate between the ruling party and the state opposition about these demarcation issues. So the prime minister argues that the ruling party and other parties adopted a law in 2010. And they recognize the borders. So they argue that you recognize the borders, so we don't want to go to that kind of debate because it's not solving any issue right now. So I was not a member of the parliament in 2010. I don't know what law they are citing, how they are arguing against each other. Right now we have a situation that Azeri forces, they are coming to stand and to organize block posts according to the map, which is arguing that it's a Soviet map. So this was the case in Syunik.
And as a last question,
Yep.
I wanted to ask you, where do you see Bright Armenia in Armenia's political landscape? And in general, what is your party's vision for Armenia over the next 5 to 10 years? Maybe you can give a little bit of a description about that.
I think we are in a new situation. This is not the Armenia that we had 5 months ago, 3 months ago. This is a different Armenia. And that is why I also argued that this is not the Armenia that Pashinyan was elected a prime minister, or I was elected as an MP or a chairman of a faction. So this is a different Armenia. I even will not use new word. This is not a new Armenia. This is a different Armenia. So they must find a way to live in this Armenia. They must find a way to develop this Armenia and to save this Armenia. Because the Armenia that we had before, together with the Nagorno-Karabakh, had 42,000 kilometers territory. So, we lost about 10,000 kilometers of Nagorno-Karabakh, also with surrounding territories. So that is why I argue that this is a different Armenia. So our vision is that to find a way to stabilize the country, first of all. Second, to have new relations with the Russian Federation. As I already talked about Sunnic region and securing Sunnic region with a new base. By the way, you said that other parties also propose new base. I didn't find out that. I didn't hear this kind of proposal. I know that there was a proposal to have a union agreement like Belarus. There was a proposal from the 16 parties, one of the 16 parties. But I don't know which party proposed a new base. But that is our proposal, to find a way to secure Armenia together with the Russian Federation, and then find the ways to develop our country, find the ways to strengthen our statute in order to prepare us for the better future. Otherwise, we will lose, I can say, maybe half of our population if we will not give new hope to our people. If we will not give new hope to our people, we will be in a big trouble.
Thank you very much for your time, and we'll be following the news in Armenia as they develop. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you as well.
That concludes this week's conversation on Grung. We look forward to your feedback, including your suggestions for conversation topics in the future. Contact us on our website at groong.org, that's GROONG, or on our Facebook page, ANN-Groong, or in our Facebook group, Groong-Armenian News Network. Special thanks to Lara Osborne for providing the music for our podcast. I'm 𝐂𝐨𝐬𝐚𝐭𝐢𝐴𝐻 Manucharyan, and on behalf of everyone in this episode, I wish you a good week. Thank you for listening, and talk to you soon.